So, I really hate it when people begin every sentence with so. And I'm not even sure why exactly, but anyway. So, I've been asking you a lot of questions the past few weeks. This week, I want to start by asking the question Simon Sinek says we should always start with. A question every parent of a young child has heard umpteen times per day. Why? Hey, this is Todd. Welcome to the Thrive Singles Podcast. Whether you're single again or still single, stop hating being single and learn to thrive. And welcome back for another week of the Thrive Singles Podcast. Been asking you a lot of questions. Hopefully you've been asking yourself these questions and have hopefully come up with some satisfying answers that have led you to make some changes and that have helped improve your life as a single person. So why stop now? Let's ask ourselves that question Simon Sinek says we should all start with. Why? So let's dive right in with a really tough one. Why are you single? Is it by choice? Or as it, like my late in life singleness was, by someone else's choice? Maybe you've never been married. Was that by choice? Or was it from a lack of appealing options? Or are there things you need to do to put yourself in better position to get married? Maybe you need to work at one or more things that I talk about here, like personal growth, attractiveness, or dating better. Or maybe you need to expand your horizons. Maybe you need to look in different places or at different types of people than you have before. In fact, ask yourself this. Why do I date the people I date? Are you only dating people that look a certain way? Are you only dating people that you think will enhance your standard of living? Or do you date the same person over and over, with a different name but with the same heartbreaking outcome? Why are you drawn over and over again to Mr. Wrong or Mrs. Wrong? Maybe it's time to rethink what you really want and what you need and how you go about dating. And thinking more about dating. Why do you date the way you date? Is it because that's the only way you know, and that's the way everybody does it? Or is it because maybe you've thought it through and decided that's the best way? Are you dating to know yourself better, have a little fun, decide if the person you're going out with might be worth getting to know better or pursuing as a spouse? Or are you dating because of a need? Like you need to boost your ego or gratify your sexual urges. Maybe it's time to decide what you really want out of life and out of relationships, decide what's the best way to get there, and start living and dating with those goals in mind. A lot of you have the goal of getting married, and a lot of you think that going on dates will lead to marriage. And yes, going on dates is an important part of the process of moving from single to married. But that begs my next question. Why do you want to get married? Seriously, have you thought that through? Is that another thing you want because your family says that's what you should want? Or is that something you want for your own reasons? And what are those reasons? Are they good and healthy reasons or selfish or misguided reasons? Your why makes a huge difference here. If you want to marry because you need an emotional or financial rescue, you need to rethink that. Because there's no person on planet Earth who can satisfy all your emotional, financial, or sexual needs. A happy marriage will require you to do a lot of unselfish giving and a lot of dealing with someone else's needs, desires, and expectations. Hopefully, you can both do that in a healthy way, in an interdependent way, not a codependent way. Now, this next question is closely related to the first question. Why am I not going on dates? That's another really hard question to ask yourself. And it's real tempting to go for the easy answer. I'm too fat, I'm not good looking enough, I'm too old, I'm too shy, or there's nobody around me I'd want to go out on a date with. And there may be a grain of truth in some of those, but every day, people who are your size, no better looking than you, older than you, and people who have less personality than you, they go out on dates, they find love, they get married every day. But that's not to say you shouldn't try to lose some weight, become as physically, spiritually, and emotionally attractive as possible, or overcome your shyness. You absolutely should work on those things. I talk a lot about how to do those things. But in the meantime, while you're working on whatever you feel your problem area is, you still need to go out on dates. As for there being nobody around you that you'd want to go out with, if there is no one in your immediate area who you find attractive or who finds you attractive, expand your search area. I know this might sound a little like wishful thinking or fantasy or pie in the sky, but I can pretty much guarantee that there's somebody out there somewhere looking for somebody like you. In fact, there are many people out there who will both be attracted to you and attractive to you. I've talked about this many times. It's best to use a two-pronged approach. Always work at being the most attractive person you can be, but also put yourself in places and situations where you're likely to find people who will be attracted to you and attractive to you. Let me finish up with a few instances where it's not helpful to ask why. Why am I so short? Why am I this body type? Why was I born with this nose? Why was I born with this eye color? In the case of your physical attributes, you can attribute those to luck of the genetic draw or accept them as God's will, but what you can't do is change your genetics. Months before you were ever born, your height, body type, facial features, and eye color were already determined. What you can do is exercise and dress in a way that makes the most of the body you do have. You may never be able to transform your apple shape into a perfect dainty hourglass. I was never able to transform my pear shape into a perfect manly V shape. But, if I could paraphrase the Serenity Prayer here, you can change what you can change, accept what you can't change, and pray for wisdom to know the difference. It's also not helpful to ask, why? Why, God? Why did you allow me to go through a divorce? Why did my spouse die? Why did that horrible thing happen to me? In the case of a divorce, the death of a spouse, or some other traumatic life event, asking God why it happened is pointless. Whether through somebody else's choices, or a freak turn of events, or whatever happened, happened. The only thing that makes sense now is to seek God's guidance and make good decisions. Those things will lead to a better future no matter how bad whatever happened was. So, till next week, ask yourself, why? Why do you do the things you do, and why do you want the things you want? The answers to those questions can be eye-opening and transformative. And avoid asking the why, God, why questions. Concentrate on the things you can change, not the things over which you have no control. And as always, till next week, thrive on. I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. See you next week. Till then, be sure to subscribe and go check out my extensive archive of past posts at thrivesingles.com. And thrive on.
Whoa, thrive. Yeah, come alive. There's more to life. You gotta grow, you gotta thrive. Whoa, whoa, you gotta thrive. There's more to life than to just survive.